Hello and thank you for watching the Week in Review, a summation of your weekly headlines. I'm Chad Roderick. Now we start off with Friday morning. Fire restrictions around the Grand Valley were downgraded from Stage 2 to Stage 1. But according to fire officials, we're not necessarily out of the woods just yet. Jeff Hinkle has more.
Earlier this week, the Turner Gulch fire near Gateway was reported as 100% contained, and the Leaf fire near Meeker now sits at 99% containment. But experts say just because those two fires are under control doesn't mean wildfire season on the western slope is over.
Historically, September fire season starts to slow down. The days are getting shorter. You know, the temperatures are reducing. But when we're in extreme drought still, there's still potential here into the fall to have wildfires. And most of the wildfires in the fall are caused by humans.
Officials say this year the air tanker base at Grand Junction Regional Airport dispensed over 1 million gallons of fire retardant during a very busy fire season.
In my 30 plus years of having wildfires in western Colorado here, responding to wildfires, this is one of the busiest years we've had. It equates a lot to 2020 and 2002 in terms of the size and the scope of the wildfires that we've had. And really what it boils down to is just the lack of having a monsoon this year.
A little bit of rain on Thursday helped get some much needed moisture back into the vegetation, but we're still in an extreme drought around the western slope. Officials warn that often during the back half of the year, Colorado is riddled with human-caused fires, many of which are started by accident.
Be really careful, still be thinking about those things that cause wildfires, whether that's your campfire, dragging chains, making sure you're using your ashtray in your vehicle and not throwing anything flammable out the window, because that's where we're seeing a lot of our human-caused fires is along our roadways.
Jeff Hinkle, Fox 4 News.
Officials say that in Stage 1 fire restrictions, campfires are allowed, but only in a metal ring, developed campsites, and fire pits. Now, the storm we saw this week brought heavy rains and fast-moving floodwaters to parts of the valley. Marge Tobin has more on the cleanup.
What began as a seemingly small storm quickly turned intense, dumping rain in concentrated areas for nearly an hour, with some of the hardest hit areas along the Redlands, leading to mudslides and flooding forest trail closures by the monument. Rob Davis, the city forester, described the storm's unusual intensity.
The intensity of this cell, the way it sat in one spot, like it just sat over the Redlands for probably close to an hour, and just high intensity rain. So that type of flood has the potential to be greater than a 100-year flood event.
Rob explained that preparation is key when responding to such events.
We were out, before the sun came up, trying to understand where do we need to worry about the public and our trail users to make sure we do everything we can to make them safe.
Flood and mudslide preparedness is top of mind for local authorities. Whether it's a short rain or an unexpected storm, knowing what to do can make all the difference. Chrissy Castor with Red Cross highlighted the importance of being prepared in areas that have been affected by wildfires.
This is very timely to talk about preparedness for floods and mudslides, because with all the recent wildfires that we've had, we know that flooding or the mudslides can happen in those burn scars. So keeping yourself and your family prepared is very, very important, especially this time of year.
Christy reminds us that you should be ready to go at a moment's notice, as flooding and mudslides can happen very quickly.
So staying informed, knowing when you might need to evacuate, and then of course being prepared to evacuate. So flooding, mudslides, it can happen anytime and very, very quickly. So making sure that you have a plan beforehand, so you're not scrambling to figure out where your family's going to go or how you're going to get there.
Whether it's flash floods, mudslides, or any other unexpected disaster, staying informed and ready can save lives. Marge Tobin, Fox 4 News.
Mesa County Public Health recently announced that there are now 7 cases of measles in the county. Today, they addressed the county's response to the outbreak. Jeff Hinkle was there and has more.
It's been 20 years since Mesa County has had a measles case. Now, Mesa County Public Health is dealing with 7 cases. But Mesa County Public Health officials believe the number might stop there.
Right now, we feel very confident to tell the community that there is low risk for further widespread infection of measles. We have a high vaccination rate of the MMR vaccine among our community members, so that also helps.
2 of the cases in the outbreak are people under the age of 18, and the other 5 are adults. Health officials say schools are the biggest pool of people that come together outside of the home, but as far as a vaccine mandate in the state,
You are not required to have an MMR vaccine to enter a public school in Colorado. However, most families choose to protect their children from these vaccine-preventable diseases and make those classrooms safer.
around the country, there are a lot of questions surrounding the safety of vaccines. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. testified in front of Congress today amid turmoil and turnover at the CDC. When asked about how safe a vaccine is, Mesa County Public Health's response?
The bodies who their whole purpose is to ensure that vaccines are safe and effective and do what they're supposed to do, those are still around. They might look a little different, but between what exists on the federal level and what exists for pharmaceutical companies who've worked hand in hand with previous administrations, I am a mom and I would take my kid today to get a vaccine.
Howe went on to say that so-called breakthrough cases are still possible. Even if you do have your MMR vaccine, you could still get the virus, but a vaccine will make the case a lot milder. Jeff Hinkle, Fox 4 News.
And Colorado has made some changes to its law on how and when suspected child abuse or neglect should be reported. Ren Lewis has more on those changes.
It's the first time that really the mandatory reporter laws have been looked at in quite a while, and they wanted to make sure that the right type of reports were being reported by the right type of people.
Colorado has made some changes to its mandatory reporting laws for suspected child abuse or neglect. Mesa County Child Welfare and Adult Protection Division Director Joe Kellerby says the law now makes it clearer that suspected abuse or neglect must be reported as soon as possible.
That means within 24 hours, and previously it was within 72 hours.
And the responsibility to report can't be passed off by telling someone else about the suspected abuse.
No longer are reports going to be allowed if somebody is telling somebody something else that happened, third-hand knowledge. It needs to be that person that has first-hand knowledge.
The third change is that victim advocates are now no longer mandated reporters.
The purpose behind that is so that survivors of crimes are able to work with those victim advocates to get connected to services and not be fearful of any reports being made based on the experiences that they just went through.
And those who are still mandated reporters are now no longer required but still allowed to report suspected abuse outside of their profession.
For instance, if a teacher witnesses abuse and neglect on their personal time, they're no longer mandated to report that just because they're a mandated reporter as a teacher.
The law also states reports cannot be made based on a family status.
Reports cannot be made solely based on race, ethnicity, poverty status, housing status, and kind of socioeconomic issues.
Kellerby says everyone, not just mandated reporters, should report suspected child abuse or neglect if they see it.
We feel that it's everybody's responsibility to protect children and youth in our community. We always encourage mandatory reporters, concerned citizens to always report any suspected abuse and neglect issues to our child protection hotline at 970-242-1211.
Ren Lewis, Fox 4 News.
Today, the sentencing hearing for Ashley Davis, who pled guilty to child abuse charges, along with a coworker, Dana Bonicelli, who was charged with not reporting the abuse. The case stems back to an incident at a local daycare in April. Kyle Kawamoto was there.
I feel like it would have been fair for her to get at least some jail time for what she did.
Anger, frustration, emotions-filled courtroom 1. On Wednesday, the judge decided the fate of Ashley Davis and Dana Bonicelli, who were charged with child abuse at a local daycare. Members of the victim's family were in attendance to support and be a voice for 18-month-old Adrian.
It makes me really mad and angry. She only gets probation, and I think they're taking things serious. They have proofs of the video and everything.
District Attorney Dan Rubenstein explains why the sentence wasn't harsher.
Without any injury, the legislature has classified that as a misdemeanor offense, and the maximum possible jail sentence would have been 4 months. As is typical with a first offender, judges don't usually give jail time on a first offense.
Davis talked about how she is accepting the consequences of her actions, repeating to the court saying, quote, "I hate myself."
I just feel like it's not fair. She didn't even apologize to the mother of what she did.
In the end, the court accepted the plea agreement. Davis was sentenced to 24 months of supervised probation, the judge dispensing a 60-day jail sentence.
Ms. Davis was charged by the Mesa County Sheriff's Office with one count of child abuse without causing any injury. The legislature determines what the level of charges are for various crimes, and I know the victims at various points had requested that this be a felony, but there was no evidence of any felony conduct, so the charge is a Class 2 misdemeanor for child abuse without causing any injury.
Meanwhile, Dana Boccacelli, one of the two workers charged with not reporting the abuse, was also given 24 months of probation and 100 days of public service.
I just feel like people are going to continue doing this over and over again if it doesn't take justice for what it was done.
Kyle Kamoto, Fox 4 News.
Now in local news, the week-long Rocky Mountain Jail Leadership Academy was recently hosted by the Mesa County Sheriff's Office. The event was held to discuss pressing issues facing detention facilities and jails nationwide. Ariana Boss spoke with local law enforcement to find out what those issues are and what steps are being taken to fix them.
The Mesa County Sheriff's Office recently bid farewell to nationwide attendees of the Rocky Mountain Jail Leadership Academy who were here in Grand Junction to learn about, identify, and brainstorm solutions for the problems facing our nation's prisons. The issues hitting Mesa County hard, short staffing, and a crisis of mental health.
Obviously, there were some challenges across the nation with staffing levels, which is kind of an ongoing thing.
The Department of Justice has described the decline in police recruitment as a, quote, historic crisis, citing the COVID-19 pandemic, a tightening labor market, and increasingly negative public views of law enforcement as reasons for the shortage of qualified candidates. We're told this has inspired law enforcement agencies to get creative.
The Sheriff's Office actually have QR codes on their patrol vehicles. And so, it talks about if you're interested, you can read the QR code.
As the number of police recruits decline, we're told issues with mental health are on the rise.
In the Mesa County population, we're definitely seeing an increase in the mental health caseload.
To keep inmates suffering from poor mental health from returning to prison, government programs have been established to help.
Bridges is a state liaison group to try to wrap some services around them to help them back into the community so they're just not reoccurring and coming back into jail.
But Mesa County says fixing problems in our nation's prisons may start at the Jail Leadership Academy, but ends with the community's involvement.
I think the main thing is getting the community involved as well. Having that availability to get some assistance on the outside is a conversation that takes a lot of community involvement.
Ariana Boss, Fox 4 News.
And District 51 schools are receiving marks for academic success they have never had before. Kyle Kamoto spoke with Superintendent Dr. Brian Hill about the recent achievements.
We just finished our 3-year strategic plan, and our big goal in there was to have 100% of our schools at the top 2 academic levels.
Getting A's on your report card or in that math class is always the best feeling. For District 51, they achieved their goal in their Year 3 strategic plan, where 100% of schools either earned the title Performance School or an Improvement School rating. School officials say this year marks the first time since school performance frameworks were introduced in 2010 that no D51 schools academically scored at the bottom 2 state levels.
It's leading to the highest graduation rates we've had in the history of the district, so great things all around.
Randy Foster is the principal of Grand Mesa Middle School. He tells me how his students and staff have worked extra hard in the last year to make this goal and what it was that pushed them to make that achievement.
A few of my students who've been here for several years have approached me and said, it's so nice to sit in class and have the teacher acknowledge me as a student because I'm working so hard.
Foster has been the principal at the school for only 2 years and is seeing rapid success.
That's why I came. Sorry. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and when they asked me to take the job, it was not easy, right? Because I was at an elementary, I was kind of cruising through the last years of my career, and I came and interviewed at the school, and I interviewed with some students and met them, and they're great kids. And I wanted those kids to have the opportunity at middle school that my daughter had.
School officials tell me that the district hopes to surpass the next goal.
The building was full of people who cared and were really good at their job. And I'm honored to have been given the opportunity to walk them through a successful year. And all I did was get out of the way of good people.
Kyle Kawamoto, Fox 4 News.
Superintendent Dr. Hill, speaking as both a superintendent and a parent within the district, expressed pride in the collective achievements of the students and highlighted the personal satisfaction derived from seeing one's child succeed alongside their classmates. A full list of the schools that improved this year, you can find it on our website, westernslopenow.com. And a rare emergency dispatch call led to a baby being born over the phone this week. Marge Tobin found out more from the calm, steady voice on the other end of the line.
This was the second baby in dispatcher Sarah Arndt's career that she helped deliver over the phone. This time from a remote location up on the Grand Mesa.
It was my last call of the day, and I answered the phone and learned very quickly that there was a child coming into the world that we were not going to have time to get to the hospital.
The dispatch training prepares her for intense moments like these.
We have a whole system that allows us to have guided questions, and it helps us through the process of telling the fire department and the EMS what exactly is going on, as well as giving us instructions to provide pre-arrival care before EMS gets there.
Sarah says that protocols ensure any dispatcher would have done the same.
It's really the luck of the call. Anyone else could have answered that phone and done the same exact thing that I did. That's what our protocols are there for.
These happy calls, as Sarah calls them, are a bright spot in the world of emergency dispatch.
This call is definitely one of those ones where you walk away just feeling happy and joyed to assist in bringing somebody into the world.
This is the second over-the-phone delivery of the year. The first being a baby girl who was delivered by dispatcher Casey on July 3rd. A social post the next day celebrated, saying, "The baby was successfully delivered and crying on the phone before the ambulance even arrived." In Mesa County, every 911 call is unique, but thanks to quick thinking, calm instruction, and reliable protocols, these babies got a head start on life before the ambulances even arrived. Marge Tobin, Fox 4 News.
And this morning, a powerful memorial display of 1,603 flags went up at Lincoln Park to honor Colorado lives lost to drug overdoses in 2024. Marge Tobin has more on the story.
The memorial display is timely to International Overdose Awareness Day, which was August 31st, to raise awareness about the opioid crisis and end the stigma around drug-related deaths.
Each purple flag indicates somebody who's overdosed and died on fentanyl, and the white ones are just specifically Mesa County. Purple are statewide, white is Mesa County.
The flags include 34 white flags honoring lives lost in Mesa County, a decrease from 43 last year. While the state has seen an overall decrease in opioid-related overdoses, Mesa County's overdose rate remains one of the highest in Colorado.
We aren't necessarily making the headway we'd like to see, and for that reason this year we decided to make the display bigger. It's about 2.5 times bigger than it was in years past, even though there are less flags. And I hope people recognize that this is a condition that we can treat just like any other medical condition, and not one that we need to talk about in closed circles or behind closed doors.
Local organizations like Pier 180 and Hard Beauty were at the event Tuesday, sharing information and resources with community members who may be affected by substance use.
Talk to each other, pay attention to each other, ask if you're okay. If they're not, then step in and help. Isolation is one of the most difficult things about substance use.
Going out into the community and helping people, offering services. Peer recovery coaching is really a helpful thing, especially when you combine it with clinical. People need all the help they can get.
The public is encouraged to visit the display at Lincoln Park that serves as a reminder of the lives lost and a call to action for the opioid crisis in our community. Marge Tobin, Fox 4 News.
And back to local news, Colorado Parks and Wildlife recently announced that the Keep Colorado Wild Pass brought in more money than it ever has before. Jeff Hinkle has more.
The state of Colorado is known for its outdoor recreation lifestyle. From kayaking on the rivers to hiking in the backcountry, it's hard to find a state that thrives off of outdoor recreation more than the Centennial State.
People want to give back to our outdoors. They want to visit our state parks. I think that's part of the beautiful thing of living in Colorado is the access to the outdoors. And so we have so many beautiful state parks. And so this is, a ticket to go explore all of that.
Residents have shown their support in the form of the Keep Colorado Wild Pass, a $29 fee that you can purchase while you register your car. It goes back to the outdoors and gets you into Colorado's state parks for less than what it would normally cost. Just this last year alone, Colorado Parks and Wildlife raised $41 million to help maintain state parks, support search and rescue crews, and keep the Colorado Avalanche Information Center up and running.
The first $32.5 million goes to state park maintenance and development. So it's really important for people to understand that we have to maintain our state parks. And so that can be trail maintenance, parking lots, picnic areas, more campgrounds.
Another $2.5 million goes to backcountry search and rescue volunteers who spend a lot of money out of pocket to get the supplies necessary to help save lives in the backcountry. And the last $1 million goes towards funding the Colorado Avalanche Information Center. In only 2 years, the program has grown from a goal of raising $36 million a year to now reaching $41 million. And the surplus goes back into funding outdoor education programs. Jeff Hinkle, Fox 4 News.
The pass is only for Colorado residents and does not apply to national monuments like the Black Canyon of the Gunnison and the Colorado National Monument. Now, in other news, 5 new sculptures from local artists coming to Fruita's downtown as part of an annual rotating art gallery. Marge Tobin has more.
A skeletal fish, a life-size ostrich, and 3 other human-like figures will be making their appearance in Fruita's downtown on Wednesday evening as part of the Heart of Fruita annual rotating art gallery. Fruita will remove the art installations from last year's exhibit and install the new ones. The 5 2025 sculptures were created by 3 local artists, Pavia Justinian, Jeff Bates, and Trevor Hall.
So a few years ago, the Arts and Culture Board came up with the Heart of Fruita, which was a rotating art exhibit that we wanted to have here in Fruita. The idea was similar to Grand Junction's art on the corner. We wanted to have some art that would rotate out. Fruita is definitely well known for a lot of different art downtown area, but we wanted to bring in some new art.
Parks and Rec Director Mark Mancuso says the program started small but quickly grew.
We started with 3 sculptures, and then last year we went up to 5 sculptures. So we have them throughout downtown and just excited to showcase new art every year.
The selection process involves a blind art review from community stakeholders.
We have the Arts and Culture Board, we have downtown businesses, we have city council representation, and sponsors of the Heart of Fruita. So they all get to sit in a room and evaluate, so it's a blind process where they don't know who the artist is.
After the scores are tallied, the top 5 artists are notified.
Kind of modeling off of Palisade and Grand Junction, trying to establish something here where artists have more availability and opportunities to display their art.
An art walk is scheduled for next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. The artists will talk about their pieces, what inspired them, what motivated them, and what the meaning of the piece is to the community. Marge Tobin, Fox 4 News.
And today, Mesa County Commissioners held their weekly hearing to discuss various topics. One was about how the county will continue to battle Japanese beetles. The county will be slightly expanding some of areas between 24 Road and Horizon Drive. Kyle Kawamoto has more on the story.
Item number 3 is to consider approving a contract amendment between Mesa County and WDR for Japanese beetle treatment in the amount of $100,000.
Mesa County has approved an updated contract for $100,000 to address the Japanese beetle infestation, adjusting the initial budget allocation. Commissioner Bobby Daniels says the total spending is approximately $300,000.
We had worked about $60,000 into our budget at the beginning of the year, but this is just a slight adjustment. We wanted to make sure that we're just being really accurate and transparent with the public on how much this was costing us.
This year, the county will not be receiving grant funding from the Colorado Department of Agriculture due to the state budget constraints.
It's unfortunate that the state didn't have that available this year. It really did help us with last year's cost.
The department will still assist with setting traps and monitoring. The expanded contract with WD Yards will allow for the treatment of areas where the Japanese beetle population is expected to increase with the established quote-unquote hot zone, aiming to proactively manage the infestation.
It's constantly expanding from wherever that original hotspot was at. Even though the numbers are far less than what we saw the first season.
Ray Horst says the county conducts 2 insecticide applications yearly based on trap data from CSU and the Department of Ag. Treatment areas expand as beetles spread, but trap numbers show improvement this year.
And if you let this beetle really get a foothold in the valley, we will never be able to eradicate it. Right now it's in an isolated area. For the most part, the traps around the valley come back empty.
Kyle Kamoto, Fox 4 News.
After 4.5 years, the Colorado National Monument Association has a new executive director. Wynn Lewis spoke with her about the new position.
I really want to help amplify the storytelling capacity of Colorado National Monument because we have so many stories to share.
The Colorado National Monument Association is welcoming Ashley Ojala as its new executive director. Ojala joined the organization in July and says she's excited to continue its mission of supporting the monument.
My main goal as executive director is to really listen to and collaborate with the National Park Service as we are here to support them. And so I want to make sure that we're able to continue to build on the existing momentum of funding some really amazing programs.
Some of those programs include the Resiliency Ranger program.
That's a program that works with youth and veterans to really work on mental health resiliency here in the monument, really connecting people in place, which is something that I personally strive to do here in this role.
And the Raptor Monitoring Program,
which is much more focused on scientific research and helping to understand the birds of prey that live here in the National Monument and how we can better protect them.
Ojala tells me she knew she had to apply for the job as soon as it opened.
I was a river guide for a short time in Browns Canyon National Monument, and I really loved the outdoor recreation side of that role, but knew that I wanted to be part of connecting people to place in order to share the experiences that you can have that really, help integrate these places into our lives.
When asked what excites her about the new position, Ojala had plenty to say.
I just feel so grateful and lucky to be here and be able to work in this place. I think I'm really excited about the collaboration with the National Park Service and learning more about how we can help them steward this place and protect it for future generations.
Wynn Lewis, Fox 4 News.
Now that does it for the Week in Review. As always, I'm Chad Roderick, and you can tune back in every Friday for a summation of your weekly headlines.